Alana, Jaylo, Sybil Shepherd, and Bruce Willis did play love interest on Moonlighting.
And co-workers, yep.
I don't think they got along.
That's what I heard, too.
What type of work did they do on the show?
Well, you have to remember... I think that was my phone that went off.
That was my phone.
That was your phone? Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, you have to remember, I was really little when that came out.
Yeah.
My parents, my mom especially liked it. I wasn't paying too much attention to it. I think it was like I'm gonna guess it was like an office job or something, if they were working in an office.
So they weren't like detectives or time travelers or pirates?
No. Elise Beasley was also in the show, too.
I don't know who that is.
Elise Beasley?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's, I don't think you hear much about her anymore, but she's been in things.
Like what?
I think she was in like a commercial for some kind of a pasta or something, or pasta sauce or whatever it is.
Okay.
I think I can't remember the other shows that she was in, but she was obviously in Moonlighting as the secretary, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beasley.
Yeah, Elise Beasley.
Elise Beasley.
Yeah.
What's been going on with you, Jaylo?
I'm going to talk about the book I'm reading.
Tell me.
I think I'm almost done with it.
Yes.
It's about this actress named Sarah Edmondson and her experiences in a company called Nexium, which turned out to be a cult. It's spelled weird too. N-X-I-V-M.
Have you talked to your doctor yet about Nexium?
That sounds like a drug, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your doctor if Nexium is right for you.
Symptoms may include gullibility.
Yeah. Naiveness. Being gullible.
Allergic to the truth.
Not picking up on red flags.
No. Not being able to notice red flags.
Yeah.
Yes.
Making yourself readily available for your boss.
That's right.
or not seeing why that would be a bad thing.
Huh. I read the book about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, but she obviously is a little bit gullible.
Right.
Do you want to tell a little slight information about her life story?
So, she got into this cult at age 28, around the time I was 25.
She didn't know that at the time.
Of course, she doesn't know who I am.
Okay.
She doesn't know who I am. She'll never know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a mystery to her. Anyway.
You're a mystery to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right.
You're like an enigma trapped in a riddle.
Trapped in a conundrum.
Trapped in a conundrum. Go ahead.
Right. Anywho.
Ooh.
Even so, at age 28, her and her then boyfriend were asked if they wanted to join this company, and this guy, Mark Vicente, who directed What the Bleep Do We Know? One of the directors, right? I think he was one of the directors. He's a famous director, and
this was her claim.
That's her claim, yes. And he convinced both of them to join. And the people that were part of this cult were trying to get a lot of money out of them, like, I forgot, like thousands of dollars. Like, was it like $2,000, I think it was?
I think that was for the introductory.
Yeah, like a crazy, crazy amount of money that you would normally not shell out if you're going to join a company.
A cult.
A cult, yes. Well, I mean, that's cult-like behavior, right? They get you to pay all this money just to join this intensive company, only to find out that they're doing mind control on you. Yeah. Paying for mind control, that's what it is.
A lot like Amway.
Amway?
Allegedly.
What about Amway? I don't know anything about Amway.
No. There's a rumor going around that the Amway is part of this Christian fundamentalist cult. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard that from my mom.
Because I heard of people selling Amway products, but I don't even know what those are.
According to her, it's really Christian.
Who?
My mom told me this.
Okay.
Who's now dead.
Yeah. So we can't really confirm it.
No. And she has a mystery, so who knows if it's true or if it was just something that she wanted to tell me.
Yeah. Okay.
But go on with next.
I don't know anything about Amway, but I'll look into it. Maybe. Yeah, so, I mean, the money thing was like a big red flag that I saw, and we've talked about this before where, it's been said that your brain doesn't develop until after you're 25, which I believe is very true. And I was thinking that, since she was close to being 30, right?
Yeah.
Why did she fall for it? She was so close to being 30. And you think that, she would have been able to problem solve these things. And really think about, well, should I really join it? I don't have the money. That's really intensive, and the mind control and, blaming yourself.
We might also want to say that based on some of the things she says early in the book, we can assume that she had also done reflective work on herself before this experience.
Yes, because she read a certain book that you are
a devotee of. A book that I preach about a lot called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you would think that she would be, more individualistic.
Yes.
And she would have been able to, go out on her own.
And in case you're wondering, I did my morning pages today.
Oh, I wasn't wondering that. I figured you would.
Okay. That's a little inside thing for Julia Cameron people.
Right.
Keep
right.
Going.
Anyway.
Keep going.
So I am in the part of the book where this is like between 2013 and 2017, which I didn't start yet, but I think it's closer to the end. And I'm just blown away by how long she stayed in it. One of the key members left in 2009. I think it might have been a year after she found out what was going on with Keith Raniere, who's the leader. Yeah. I can say that.
You can say that this is what she said in the book.
Yeah. I can say that because, people already found out about him. Anyway, and he is put away, so he can't really say anything. Or can he?
I don't know.
know.
He has a podcast of his own called Green Rainier and Ham.
Green Rainier and Ham.
Yeah. I've listened to it. It's not as good as ours. He does it with my dad. No.
No. He doesn't know who I am. He wouldn't know who I was. Anyway.
I said he does it with my dad, and you're like, no, he wouldn't know who I am.
Right. No, I'm talking about Keith Raniere.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah.
He does a podcast with my dad, and your response was, he doesn't know who I am. Sorry, Daddy. You're my daddy.
They both don't know who we are, or who I am, rather.
I doubt it.
Yeah. One of them knows who you are.
Maybe. I'm assuming so.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So it's getting interesting. I'm just really surprised that she was even in this cult for 12 years. 12 years is a long time. I would, it's different if things were gradually happening, like it was so subtle that you didn't notice it. But this is not subtle. It was
very quickly after
yes.
started investigating this group.
Really quickly.
That I would have known something shady was going on.
Absolutely. And it's one thing if it was like really, really subtle that no one could figure it out.
It was very obvious.
But it was very, very obvious. Yeah.
I did enjoy the book overall, though. I just think that she's very gullible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you would hope that she wouldn't be that way now. She has a family now, so.
I don't know if she is or isn't, to be honest.
I don't know either. But that's a horrible, horrible thing to go through.
I've been reading some interesting books.
Oh, yeah?
Or before we get to them,
yeah.
I know I'm all over the place today. We just
yeah, sure.
ate, and I think I stuffed myself.
Yeah,
and
we both did.
Feeling a little bit of food coma. So if you notice me rambling, that's probably why.
That's okay.
It's nothing to do with the morning pages.
Right.
So, what are some takeaways you have from the book so far, other than the fact that she's really gullible? Or are there any lessons? Are there any moments of laughter?
There's no funny moments that I can think of. Well, except for like the relationship that that she was when she was talking about the relationship she had with her then boyfriend Nibby, This is, of course, after her first boyfriend.
Never.
And how she was kind of poking fun at the Genis program, the talks that they would have, and how women and men, I mean, it was very contradictory to each other. How men were supposed to know how it is to feel like a man, to act like a man rather, and that they weren't supposed to cry or whatever it is, and then in the other side to that was the leader would flip it around. He would flip it around and say that you are completely obedient and subservient to your man, your husband, your boyfriend, whoever it is, right?
Amen, brother.
No.
Go ahead.
But the way that he was thinking about it was really controlling. And you don't want to do that to a woman.
No.
You don't want to get to the point to where it is controlling. I do believe that a man should wear the pants in the relationship, but not to the point where she doesn't have a say in anything. Like nothing. Mm. Yeah. I think they took it to the extreme.
I do too.
Yeah. Yes.
I've been reading some books, Jaylo.
Oh, really?
Yes. One of the books is called, I read it a few weeks ago. I think the title was I Am a Fugitive, My Life on a Chain Gang by Robert E. Burns.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that one.
This is a crazy book, babe. So before we get to the book in general, let's sort of give some backstory about my relationship. Mm-hmm. In the late 1990s, I was watching the History Channel. Mm-hmm. I like to do that back in the day. Yeah. And they were airing this special about chain gangs and about the history of chain gangs. And they mentioned this guy who was an escaped fugitive who wrote a book, and they based a movie off of him. All this type of thing, right? Fast forward to like 3 weeks ago, and I'm reading this book on the history of Warner Brothers, the movie studio, right? Right. And they talk about this Edward G. Robinson movie, I Am a Fugitive, and they mention that it's based on a true story. It's a 1932 film. They talk about the guy who wrote the book that it was based on. I thought to myself, that sounded really familiar. And I thought, that's that same dude from the History Channel that I saw that special on like 20 years ago. So I go on Bookshare, and I see that they just uploaded the book like 2 months previous to that. Wow. I might have even been the first person to download it from Bookshare. Really? Yeah. It's a really good book, this. So basically, this guy's story was, he was a World War I veteran. Okay. He comes back to the U.S., and he's having trouble finding work. Eventually, he ends up in Georgia. It's questionable how this came about, but somehow he ends up participating in this robbery. Okay. He says that he didn't know what their intentions were, and that at the last minute they threatened to kill him, so he had to get involved. Some other people say that he was involved from the beginning, but regardless of how it happened, he was involved with this robbery. They arrest him, and they sentence him to 6 to 10 years of hard labor on this Georgia chain gang. Wow. Okay, I'm guessing 2 years into his sentence, he escapes the chain gang. Right. And he's on the run for about 7 years. But in that 7-year period, it's not just like he's like moving from city to city. Yeah. He moves to Chicago. He starts this magazine, and he becomes friends with all of these prominent figures in the community. So his wife, who he met after he broke free, knew about his secret because she was searching his mail. Right. She turns him in after he tries to separate from her to go with somebody else. Oh, that's not good. Okay. They come to him and they say, okay, you got to go back to Georgia, but we think you're only going to be there for maybe 90 days, right? And you're not going to be on a chain gang. We just have to show that you're doing something, right? Right, yeah. Just so that we're disciplining you. But meanwhile, he got all these letters from mayors, governors. Really? Wow. Carl Sandburg even wrote a letter on his behalf. So he's thinking that he just has to go back there and serve the sentence. Right. He returns to Georgia, and for the first couple months, things are going good. Yeah. Until they say, we're not reducing your sentence, and you're going to go back on the chain gang. Oh, wow. So he has to go back on the chain gang. Wow. And I think he's on the chain gang again for like a year and a half. Right. Breaks free again. Wow. Writes his memoirs. Wow. They based the movie off of the memoirs, and he finally got forgiven from the state of Georgia about 4 years after the book came out. It was a crazy book.
Wow.
Really good read. I highly recommend it. I'm a Fugitive by Robert E. Burns.
And that was made into a movie?
It's made into a 1932 film starring, I believe, Edward G. Robinson.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, with films back then, they were very fictionalized, so they didn't stick to reality a lot.
Right.
I can't speak to the quality of the film, but I highly enjoyed the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Very good stuff.
Huh.
I've been reading other stuff.
Chain gang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds brutal.
It does.
I mean, you're chained to these people, and you have to do hard labor like that.
Yeah, he was talking about it like you'd be out in the sun all day.
Oh.
I think he said that the three people who were considered the slowest workers were taken into the room at the end of the day and tortured for a little while.
Oh no.
And you'd hardly get any time off. You'd get just enough food to survive.
Yeah.
He said it was crazy out there.
That's horrible.
I believe because of his notoriety, Georgia eliminated their chain gang.
Yeah, because that's really horrible.
He makes it sound horrible.
Yeah. They would be chained together for the day.
Yep.
And then they would go back to their cells at night?
They'd go back to the cells at night, they would eat, and according to him, I think they only got to take a bath once a week on Sundays.
Oh, wow.
People would die in their cells.
That's horrible.
A whole bunch of horrible stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, this is somewhat related to a chain gang. Not quite, but...
This is about your time as a criminal.
What? No.
Okay. We're not gonna
why would you say that? Why would you say that?
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Why would it... No, because it's not true.
Okay.
Why would you say that?
It's not. All right, tell me what you... by the way, I was just joking in case you wanted to file a lawsuit. So, tell me your chain gang story.
No, I mean, it didn't happen to me, but I remember I was watching the Maury Povich show a long time ago.
I was not the father.
No, it wasn't like that. It was about these kids that were running wild, and they were... They took him to a prison, I think it was. I think it might have been a prison. Yeah, a prison or a jail. I'm not sure which jail it was. And they were telling them about chain gangs. And that they would I think they chained them together to show them what it was like to actually be in a chain gang. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know how much they edited it. They edited the footage for TV, but
I'm sure they did a lot of moving things around.
That's what I remember. But yeah, I heard some bad things about the chain gangs.
Does not sound like a good time.
No, it doesn't.
It's
well, being in prison anyway isn't a good time.
Yeah, I hope you read the book at some point. I think you'd get something out of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've been reading some other.
Did he get remarried though?
As far as I know, he didn't. So the girl that he left his wife for, the way it ends in the book, and you got to remember, I think the book was published in 1931, and he lived until I think a year or two after World War II ended. So he had another 15 years of life in him, something to that effect. But up until the time the book was finished, he said that he had not seen the woman that he left his wife for.
Oh, wow.
His take on his first marriage, that it was a loveless marriage anyway, and that he married her for convenience, but she actually had something going for him. She was really into him, but he didn't feel the same way about his first wife.
So
the one who turned him.
So what exactly was the convenience that he married her for? Was it because he wanted to be in the country, or?
Well, no, he was an American citizen. Basically.
He was an American citizen?
Yeah, I believe he said that she nursed him back to health. He felt really sorry for her.
Oh,
this type of thing.
Wow. That is a horrible marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine being married to someone that loves you, but you don't love them.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Like that show Ned and Stacy with your girl Deborah Messing.
She's not my girl. I like the old Will and Grace show, but I'm not interested in watching the new one. I just don't think it should have been rebooted. And that's my own opinion. I've never seen any of the new Will and Grace show, but I don't really care to see it.
Okay.
I do like the old one.
You never watched...
She was actually funny.
You never watched Ned and Stacy, though?
Kind of, a little bit. I mean, what is the premise about that?
She really likes this apartment that the guy from Wings is living in, Thomas Hayden Church.
Uh-huh.
And he's this ad executive. I think he even helped create the show. he wants a wife to help him look good so he can get a promotion. So they agree to get married.
Him and Deborah Missing?
Him and Deborah Missing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And they're friends with her sister and brother-in-law. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a dumb premise, but I enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Have you ever heard of a show called Mike and Molly?
I've heard of it, I haven't seen it, and I don't really know what the premise is about, except it had that lady Melissa McCartney in it.
McCarthy. Not McCartney.
Not McCartney.
No.
Let it be. Go ahead.
No, she's not. I don't think she's related to Paul McCartney. No, yeah, Melissa McCarthy, and I don't remember who the guy was. And I don't know what the premise is either, because I think I only saw like maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and I wasn't interested in it.
You just decided to ask me randomly if I've heard of some show.
Yeah, it just reminded me of, because you said Ned and Stacy, and it reminded me of Mike and Molly.
Interesting, Jaylo.
Yes.
So I've been reading other books too.
Oh, really?
I finished this book that was awesome, called One Day.
Yes, you told me about that one. Yes.
This was a really good book.
Yes.
And the premise is the author picked this day. The day was December 28th, 1986, and he investigated stories that happened that day and then did these follow-ups. So one of the stories near the beginning of the book is this lady needed a heart transplant, right? And back in the day, it was really, really hard to get one. I mean, I imagine that it's not exactly, a piece of cake to get one these days, but it was even more difficult back then. It was a newer procedure.
Yes.
And this hospital, I want to say it was in Cincinnati. I might have that wrong. But this hospital had just decided that they wanted to get into the heart transplant business, right? So they said, okay, we're going to give out the first 10 heart transplants for free. We're going to pay for not only the surgery, but all the aftercare. So any checkups related to it, any medication, which is very pricey. And she happened to be the first heart recipient in the city. One of the things that I touched you.
Yeah. With your fingertip. With your fingertips.
So one of the interesting things about this is the lady they gave the heart transplant to was this black lady, and her being black plays into the story.
Right.
In her early 20s. The reason it plays into this story is they don't know why, but for some people, white people who get heart transplants tend to live longer than black people who get heart transplants.
I think you mentioned that to me a while back. Yes.
Right. I didn't mention it here though.
No.
Yes. Well, I already know this.
No. I'm not saying that. I just remember that I think you said that to me not too long ago.
Yeah, because I read the book last week.
Yeah.
So they say, if you live 5 years after a heart transplant, you're doing good.
Yeah.
If you live 20, it's kind of rare.
Wow.
And they interviewed her. As of last year, she was still alive 32 years after the operation.
Wow.
They told her that, her dream was to become a nurse and work with babies and elderly people. But they said because of, she has a compromised immune system now, they didn't think that would ever happen for her. But about 5 years after the operation, they gave her the go-ahead. She's a nurse now. She had 2 little kids at the time of the surgery. They're now grown up. I believe her son's some sort of like super genius.
Wow.
It was just like a really heartwarming story.
Oh, wow.
They tell a bunch of stories in the book that are just incredible. I don't want to ruin it though, but One Day is a really, really good book that I hope you read one day.
One day.
And it led me to this other book.
What is it?
When they were telling her story, they mentioned a book called...
Hey!
They were talking about the heart surgery. And they mentioned this book called Every Second Counts.
Right.
And it's about the history of heart transplants.
Right.
I read it. The first heart transplant was in South Africa in 1967. And they mentioned that also in One Day, but what they didn't really talk about, because it's not really about heart transplants,
right,
is the history of doing transplants in dogs leading up to the first human recipient. So it was interesting reading about how all these dogs died. Some of them lived for a few hours. Mm-hmm. And I believe the first human recipient of a heart transplant lived something like 18 days. Mm-hmm. Done by the South African doctor, who got a lot of notoriety from this. Mm-hmm. And the widow of the man who got the transplant was upset with the doctor because he wasn't at the patient's funeral. Instead, he had come to America to be on a couple of TV shows.
Oh, wow.
And she was pissed off at him because of that, which I thought was a little bit unfair.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was also a really, really good book.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But you said one day was better?
One Day I thought was better. One Day was a really enjoyable read.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yes.
So I've been reading, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alana, we ate.
Yes, we did.
What do we have, Jaylo?
We had our cheesy baked spaghetti, which turned out so good. And then you did some experimentation with the bread, right? Yeah.
Last night, I began the process of making French baguettes. And this morning, I changed one of them into garlic bread. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the best garlic bread I've ever had.
Yeah.
But for a first time, I thought it was
really good.
All right, yeah.
And I made the suggestion that we put butter on the bread before we put the sauce on.
Even though the sauce is made out of butter.
Well, I know that, but just extra butter on the bread.
Yeah.
Just to make it a little bit more buttery. Mm-hmm. And then put maybe some rosemary in the sauce.
I think that could come out good. I almost chopped up some parsley, but we're kind of running behind.
Yeah.
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 But it turned out so good.
Yes.
I'm really full, Jaylo.
And another thing I was getting into, which I got into last night because I wanted to find some episodes of this show that was around for a long time, and I believe it still is, called The Prairie Home Companion. And I'm referring to the episodes that were hosted by Garrison Keillor when he was still the host. And I found his website, and I watched, I kind of had like a Prairie Home Companion marathon. And each episode is different. Sometimes the routine is, well, as far as like how the show is laid out, it's not always the same. And there's guest bands on or guest artists on, and there's comedy but with the actors, and then they have their own band in the theater. And sometimes they have shows that are recorded in New York, and one of their shows was recorded in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was really good. There was a big band, sort of a jazz band called the Nighthawks, and they were a big band. And then there was a quartet, a string quartet, and it was a really, really good show. And it's on his website. There's also a website that I've been meaning to go on called prairiehome.org, which I think has more episodes. And what did you think about that?
Let me give you a little bit of insight about my history with this program.
Okay.
In high school, people kept talking about a Prairie Home Companion. Mm-hmm. It's this great show. You gotta listen. Mm-hmm. Since then, I've been hearing it year after year after year. Mm-hmm. To this day, I have friends who say, "Oh, you gotta listen to Prairie Home Companion. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest thing ever." Mm-hmm. I think when I was living in Hawaii, mm-hmm. I've told you this before, but I, generally speaking, don't like the weekend programming on NPR. Mm-hmm. When I was in Honolulu, this is about 15 years ago now. Mm-hmm. I feel old.
Wow.
The radio in Honolulu sucks. It's garbage.
Are you talking about AM radio or just?
I'm talking about the AM FM radio.
Really? I didn't think it was
horrible
that bad.
In Hawaii.
Really?
It is.
Okay, why?
There's nothing good on. They play the same 4 records, you know.
Which stations are you talking about, though? Because there's different stations, you know.
No, but I flip through the dials, babe. There's nothing good on. I mean, maybe it's changed now, but back in 2000.
I mean, there was. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I there were stations that I actually liked. So I mean, I don't know.
What was the college radio station there? KTHU? KTUH? Something like that?
Yeah, but I didn't listen to the college station.
You see, that one was kind of good, but I only listened to their nighttime program.
I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean, there's some things that maybe you wouldn't have been interested in. I mean, I was listening to the Hawaiian stations, and I was also listening to the stuff that had more of the what do you call it? The stuff that had the songs that were on at the time. But I mean, I didn't listen to everything, so it really all depended on what you wanted to listen. But now that there's a lot more,
horrible.
It wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was. Anyway,
Not really.
Based on this, one day I'm out and I turn on a Prairie Home Companion for 5 minutes and I turn it off and I never looked back. Till I moved here, and people one after another kept talking to me, Rick, you gotta listen to a Prairie Home Companion. It's the greatest show ever. It's the greatest show ever. And I thought maybe I had reached a point in my life where I was done hearing about a Prairie Home Companion.
Uh-huh.
And then I met a lovely lady. For a while I was safe. And about a week ago I started hearing, have you always, get okay?
And I didn't ask you like that.
Home Companions, okay, check it out.
I didn't ask him that way.
Yeah. So, my girlfriend comes over today. And I'm like, do you want to listen to anything good? And she's like, I want to listen to Prairie Home Companion, okay? And we turn it on. So I heard it for the first time today. I mean, a full episode today.
Yeah. And it had one of our favorite groups on it. Who was it?
The California Honey Drops.
Yes.
I've seen live.
Yes.
Really
and the band that was before them was a country band called the Cactus Blossoms, which was brothers. And they reminded me so much of the Everly Brothers.
I got that after hearing them.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were really good. And I always thought the comedy was funny. Some of the comedy might be a little bit corny, but I thought it was genuinely, the audience was laughing pretty hard. What I really like, as far as comedic things on the show, of course, was a segment called News from Lake Wobegon, spelled Wobegone, which is a fictional city in Minnesota.
Do you want to tell the story about the concert we were at recently?
The concert.
With the kids.
Oh, wait. Which? Oh, are you talking about?
Yes.
Wait, no. I didn't ask my question yet.
Go ahead.
The concert with the kids?
Who are talking about? Apparently, yes. Kids listen to this.
Okay. These were not children. These are not children. These were college students.
They're kids to me. Keep going.
We're not that much older than they are. Or maybe about a good 10 years. I don't know.
Well, I'm not. Keep going. All right, keep going, babe. Keep going. So
I gotta get this out of my system. You see?
Oh goodness! All right. Keep going.
Okay, so these young people, young college students, were sitting behind us, and one of the guys was saying that before church, him and his family would listen to a Prairie Home Companion. And I think it was like either before, like maybe they were on their way to church. And then he commented by saying, I was really surprised when I found out that Lake Wobegon was not a city, was not a real place. And I thought that was really funny. And the reason why I like the news from Lake Wobegon is because the story just goes all over the place. You don't know where it's going to end up. And he comes up with these weird characters, and it's like, it's just so weird. It's a funny story, I think. And he's a very, he's been around for a long time. I've heard part of an episode he did in 1985. You can actually find some of them on YouTube. And he's been around a long time. He writes poetry. Apparently, on his website, you can find a poem. You can find some things that he writes. I think he does a show now called the Writer's Almanac. I think. And I haven't been consistently watching it, but from what I've heard before in the past, I thought it was really funny, and very entertaining with the guests that they would have on their stage. So
I've now heard an episode.
Yes, you did.
Of a Prairie Home Companion.
Yes.
My ears did not fall off.
No.
I did not turn to stone.
No, you didn't. Why would you?
I don't know. But I don't know how I feel about it. I don't hate it as much as... I mean, I expected to hate it. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. Because, I'd built it up in my mind if everybody's saying this is the best show ever. It can't be.
And I told you that I thought you should... I think you should change your mindset. Because that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be horrible.
Well, and then there's that great joke in one of my favorite shows, BoJack Horseman, where they make fun of...
Oh, a Prairie Home Companion on every station.
For 72 hours. And him and Wanda are arguing in this car, and he hit this animal. She runs after the animal. He's just going to stand there. And then he turns on the radio and hears that, and he decides to go out and help.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're fun. I really do. And each episode is different. Each episode has different guest stars on it, guest bands or guest artists, and I don't think you know what to expect. And it's actually recorded live. So usually it's recorded live at the Fitzgerald Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. I don't know who's the host of it now. I would hope that it says it's just as entertaining as it was when Garrison Keillor was the host. I don't know.
I might give it another shot in the future.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. They're all different shows. Not the same thing over again.
No.
And the Lake Wobegon stories are different from one another too.
Good.
You see.
Yeah.
And they have different parodies. They sing different parodies that the band thinks of.
Yeah, they do.
I thought they were pretty funny. Stop it!
I do this voice that Alana thinks is kind of creepy.
It is.
I go, yeah.
It is creepy. Creepy.
Yeah, it is. But sometimes you'll do a creepy voice on the phone too when I do mine.
It's because I talk to you way too much about that. Like, stop.
Do you want to do your creepy voice and creepy laugh?
No.
Go ahead.
No, I don't.
Nice.
No.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. Okay, I better stop it. It really sounds creepy.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. I'm auditioning for a reboot of Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah, they're gone.
That sounds creepier than Robert Stack's voice.
Yes.
If you have any information,
please call this toll-free telephone number.
What was it?
I think it's used for something else now. In fact, I saw in a message forum a couple years, they were talking about the old Unsolved Mysteries number.
Yeah.
And people were calling and they said there was some really creepy stuff on the phone. Now, they could have just been lying.
Really?
Because it sounded good online. But it made me want to call the number.
What kind of creepy stuff did they say?
They said that they heard some weird noises and animal sounds on the phone.
Ew.
Yeah. And again, that may not be true, but that's what I read online.
Ew.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Have you been having any interesting dreams recently?
Not necessarily, no. At least ones that I can't think of at the moment. What about you?
I had a dream about your mother last night.
She
was alive?
Yes, she's still alive.
Really?
Really, yes.
I wish I would have known that before I got up this morning and started crying.
Did you say she smelled like lemon?
She did. In the dream, I'm living in this big house.
Mm-hmm.
A friend visits me and leaves, and I'm assuming I had roommates. Your mom is over at the house, and I go in my bedroom to do whatever. I come out, and she's cleaning the living room, and she smells like lemon. So I go to clean my bedroom, and I can't get it clean, and I can't get it clean. And I'm worried because your mom's going to see my bedroom. And then I woke up.
Is it possible, and I don't know if this is a good interpretation, but it's something I thought about just now.
Okay.
Is it possible that the reason why you had the dream is that you're worried about whether, you're worried about when the time comes when you might meet my mom.
That is, and the cleaning up the garbage is a reference to all the stuff that I have in my life that's sort of holding me back, that I don't want your mom to see. That's what you're thinking?
It's possible. That could be one of the things, or it could be that you want to make a good impression on my mom.
Well, I don't want to do that. I'm already with her daughter. No, I'm just joking, babe.
You're like, I don't have to do anything because I got the girl.
Yeah, you okay? I got my Jaylo. You go get yours. No, there's probably some of that that's true.
Yeah.
I do want to make a good impression on your mom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just really surprised that you haven't met, we'll just call them any girl's family.
I haven't. No.
Yeah. Wow. That surprises me.
I was dating this one girl who was adopted. And I met her adopted family, but she was adopted when she was older, and she called her adopted parents by their first name.
Which I think is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was older. It wasn't like she was a day old when she was adopted.
It wasn't like she was a baby.
No.
Yeah, but still, though.
She was in school and the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't have to go into all of that because I thought it was a very strange story, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as close as I've come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. But you don't really count that?
No.
Okay.
Because they weren't her real family, and she didn't think of them as that.
Oh, she didn't?
No.
Wow. It's just like the people that she lives with.
Well, again, I mean, she was older when she was adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good looking, but it was a bit crazy.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes those good looking girls can be crazy.
I know. Tell me about it. I do hope that one day I'll break the habit of dating good looking crazy girls.
Are you saying I'm crazy?
So next topic, Jaylo.
No. Don't change the subject.
Oh,
what are you saying?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
What?
Oh my goodness, I need a kiss.
No.
I love you.
You're not out of the woods yet.
Oh.
I love you.
Hey, I'm in the city, okay?
Ah. You're gonna get it later.
Uh-oh.
I'm telling you. I was nice earlier.
You should always be nice, babe.
I mean...
You should always be
because you started it.
You should always be nice.
You started it. I'm gonna finish it.
Always be nice. Alana?
Yes.
What self-love actions have you done in the past week, or do you plan to do in the upcoming days?
Well, there's one thing that is something that I don't know if you would count it as self-love, because it is something important that I have to get done, and I don't know if I should go into it.
Okay.
But it has to do with services.
Okay, you don't have to go into that.
But I won't give you that. That is an important thing. That's a good question. I really want to start journaling again because I haven't started yet. It's something that I have stopped doing in the last, I don't know, almost 11 years. 11 years about. And I feel like I need to do that because I feel like I've grown within the last 11 years, and I want to put that in writing and, my perspective on things. And I should start that. Yeah. What about you?
I'm in the middle of week 3 of The Artist's Way. I've done it before, but I'm doing it again. So I'm going to continue that, doing the morning pages, following through on a lot of the exercises, and hopefully get more clarity on my life. And there's one thing I started doing is, I think I told you this, I have a fear of sleep, I've noticed.
Wow.
So I've just recently begun the ritual of writing things down that I may have some anxiety about before I go to bed, and then putting that piece of paper in like a plastic bag. Mm-hmm. So I'm no longer letting it take up as much real estate in my mind, my worries, before bedtime. Yeah,
I've been having kind of a fear too, but I think it's another psychological thing that that you're going through, and I think I kind of touched on it, but I think that whoever is listening should know about it. So I had cancer almost 12 years ago, and when I was really starting to get sick, I had a hard time breathing because I had a tumor that was sitting literally in between my lungs. And things that, like when I was really sick and I was recovering, I couldn't do things like I couldn't drink down a glass of water normally like I used to. Before that happened, I had the tumor restricting my breathing, so I couldn't drink a drink straight down. I had to drink it slowly. And I noticed that if I drink something too fast, I start to have like a little bit of a panic attack. Not a big one, but just like panicky, like, oh my goodness, I can't breathe. And then I've been having anxieties with really strong winds lately. And I don't know. I mean, this could be psychological too, because when I was sick and recovering, every time it would get really windy, I would freak out because I would think that, oh man, I can't breathe. The wind is too overwhelming. Does that make any sense to you?
That makes complete sense to me.
Okay.
Do you want me to repeat back what you're saying in my own words so you know that it makes sense, or do you just want to?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
When you had cancer, one of the side effects was it was very difficult for you to swallow.
Yes, it was.
And recently you've been noticing that you become more fearful about drinking liquids quickly.
Yes.
Because it brings back those old memories.
Yes, it does.
Adding on to that, when you're out in winds, you're starting to notice that the wind is giving you anxiety for similar reasons, because it brings up old memories of when you had cancer and felt defenseless.
Yeah, like I can't breathe. Mm-hmm. Like I'm, and that's exactly how I felt that one time when we were with your friend, and it was a particularly not a great day weather-wise, and I seriously was really panicky, and I didn't know how to verbalize it, because I'm like, this is crazy, why should I be fearful of this? Because I've been in wind several times, and I've been to much windier areas than when we were in, but for some reason it just got to me. I don't know what it was. And it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it does. And when it does, I'm like, I've been trying to think about, well, what is really causing this? Why, what can I do to lessen the anxiety? I don't know. So those are some things that I've been kind of thinking about, and it's good to verbalize things like that, because then I can actually it's easier for me to pinpoint things, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's letting it out of your head, because you can keep something in your mind forever and you come up with all these theories, but actually saying it out loud, it's sort of like letting a dog out of the backyard.
Yeah.
If you have a mailman that you want the dog to attack, it's not going to attack that mailman unless you let it out. Maybe
the reason why I have anxiety about wind too, and I think about this in the past, and I'm like, I think about this before I got sick, and I'm like, this is crazy. I was always okay with wind, but I think maybe it's because, like, for example, if you were swept up in a tornado, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, we've never had like big tornadoes here, but they've come to the Northwest, to the Washington area. If I was swept up in a tornado, I would freak out, because I would not be able. I wouldn't know how to get out of it. I also wouldn't know how to. I would be completely defenseless.
Yeah.
And maybe that's another reason why, because I would imagine that when the tornado gets you, you're swept away, right?
I don't know. I would assume so.
I would assume that the chances of you surviving it is not very, it's not likely. It could blow you somewhere, and you could be found later on, but you're dead. I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint why that is.
Journaling could be helpful with that.
Right. And you know, so I don't know.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Alana?
No, but I'm glad I verbalized what I was feeling, and I'm glad you verbalized what you were feeling.
I'm glad you felt safe to verbalize what you were feeling.
Yeah, because at the time that it was happening to me, I just didn't want to say anything because I thought, oh, what if you guys thought I was crazy or...
I already think that, babe.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I have your support.
No. No.
You know, I didn't know how to say it because I just didn't know how to put in words.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice that you were finally able to come forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad I can trust that I can tell you that, and you're not like, oh, you're just nuts, you know, that's just your mind playing tricks on you.
You are, but again, I knew that going on.
No, actually, you are.
Oh my goodness, I'm so normal. Okay.
Naughty professional.
Oh my goodness. No, but all jokes aside, I'm glad that you were able to verbalize that.
Yeah. I do feel a little bit better about that, yes. I have told my mom a little bit about that. And we didn't really discuss it further, but you know, it does help that I told at least one person, which would be you.
Yeah.
You know, the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had a lot of time to tell my mom how I was feeling because I didn't know how to verbalize it. Yeah.
All right, Alana, Jaylo.
Yes.
Good talking to you, AJ.
Good talking.
Join you next time, unless there's anything else you want to say.
I don't have anything to say, except I think that anyone who is listening should listen to Prairie Home Companion. I think so.
I'd say listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, but that's my opinion.
Well, you can listen to both.
Joe Rogan's way better.
Ah.
But I will probably listen to Prairie Home Companion again at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many good gems that you can find on YouTube, and a lot of old episodes that are. I found one recently that was from 1985.
You said that already.
Yes, I know I did, but I'm just repeating it. So I'm sorry.
That's right.
I just can't emphasize enough that it's a fun show. It really is. Mm. You know, if you really want a temporary escape, that's one of the shows that could help with that, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes. There you go.
I want you.
Yes, why?
Good talking to you, okay?
Okay, until next time.
Till next time. Bye.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
And Happy New Year, okay?
Okay.